Sophie from our half-acre homestead. I got a question today, or a couple of questions, and I thought it best to do a video response to them. This is a video response to Scottish Not Irish. Scottish Not Irish asked, I've been thinking of getting milk goats. All the info on the internet makes it confusing. What type is the easiest to have as milking goats? What do you do with all the babies? We have a family of 10, so I'd need at least 4 milkers. And how do you arrange it so there's always milk? Okay, first off, some people will tell you to have milk goats and a stud buck of a meat goat. I don't bother. Clover and Blossom are Toggenburg Alpine Cross, and my buck is Sannon. And Sannons are a snow white goat, and they have good meat quality. They are not a meat goat, but they do have good qualities for meat. So, and they are also a dairy goat. So if you want to raise and eat the offspring, then you should have at least a Sannon buck, because they make a nice compact meat goat as well as dairy goat. I've had several different breeds. I had, my first milker was Busy, and she was a full-blood Alpine. And I had a Toggenburg buck at the time. His name was George. He's very famous. And they gave me Clover and Blossom, who I'm presently milking now. Clover and Blossom are half Toggenburg, half Alpine. Now, the buck I have to sire them is a full-blood Sannon, okay? And the distinction between these goats isn't that much difference other than size and coloring. But they are all, the one distinction they all share is that they are all dairy breeds, okay? I don't mess with meat breeds because we do eat our goat as well. We do eat it as well as having milk. We treat them like little cows with personalities. So what I recommend, I don't recommend anything. I know Michigan Snow Pony prefers Alpines. She has beautiful Alpines. And you can get up to a gallon of milk a day, milking twice a day from an Alpine. I know because Busy at one point gave me a gallon a day, milking her twice a day. But if you are going to, if you have a family of 10 and you want milk all year round, I would suggest that you have your 4 does, okay, your 4 females and 1 buck. And what you do is you breed 2, and always, folks, don't let your buck run with your does all the time. A, you're never going to know when they're going to have babies. And B, if you live in an intemperate climate like we do here in Canada, you risk having babies born in sub-zero weather, and it can be very dangerous for them. Yes, they are hardy, but not necessarily in 20 below weather, okay? So I would breed 2 from mid-November to the end of December, and that will give you a late April, early to mid-May kids. Most goats have twins. Sometimes I'll have 3, sometimes I'll have 4. More often than not, a first birthing will give you 1 or 2. What you do with all the kids, okay, so you breed 2 in November, December, and as soon as you know they've connected, you add 5 months, and that's when you can expect your kids and to watch them. You keep, once they're bred, you take those does away from the buck. You separate the buck from the does, okay? Otherwise, if they get born and the buck is with them, you're going to have a really hard time getting anywhere near those does or those babies with a buck in the herd. So breed 2 in the winter, November, December, and in the spring, as soon as the babies are born, if you have males, you can ban them, and I have a video on that. You can ban the males within a week of them being born and raise them for meat. If you have females, you can also raise them for meat, but you don't want to raise them for milking unless you're planning on replacing your buck, okay? Because you do not want to do inline breeding. I don't care what anybody says. Or you can sell the little females. Once they're weaned from their mom at 8 weeks, you can sell them right away as long as the people that you're selling them to know that they need to have colostrum in the first week, and then they need to go on a milk replacer, a good milk replacer. That they will be bottle feeding those babies for at least 6 weeks to 10 weeks. Probably 12 is a good number. So that's what you can do with the kids. You can ban the males and raise them for meat, and you can sell the females, because that's another good thing about keeping your dairy goats or your milk goats all dairy breeds, okay? Because you can sell the female offspring for anywhere between $50 and $150, depending on how nice the offspring is. Now, my milkers, so once you have your babies born in the spring, okay, after a couple of weeks, when they've gotten their colostrum, you can start separating the babies from the mums at night. Let them have their nighttime feeding with mom, okay? Separate the babies out into another pen, and then first thing in the morning, because you need to milk your goats every 12 hours unless you have babies on them, okay? So the babies will take care of the evening milking, and you separate them, and in the morning you go in and you milk the goats, okay? And then you allow the babies back in to be with their mom and get their nursing and their comfort and all that stuff during the day. Once the babies are weaned at 12 weeks to 4 months old, I mean, that's 4 months is pretty old. If they're eating oats and they're eating hay and they're drinking freely from the bucket of water, then you can wean them, okay? Just because they're still drinking off a mum doesn't mean they shouldn't be weaned off, okay? That's a comfort thing. So once they're weaned off, you start milking mom twice a day, every 12 hours. You can do it here, higgly-piggly if you want, but if you want a good production of milk, you're going to milk them every 12 hours and you're going to stick to a rigid schedule, okay? Then that fall, now once you have the milking, okay, after you've separated the babies and you've weaned the babies, once you have them milking, you milk them twice a day, and you can milk them for a year or longer, depending on how tolerant they are of being milked. But if you want milk all year round, you're going to wean those babies, you're going to start milking the mums twice a day, and then that winter, you're going to breed your other 2 does, okay? So that come the spring, when they have their babies, you've got fresh does with milk, and you can give the other 2 a break and let them rest for a couple of months before you breed them again in November, December. Okay? So I hope this answers your questions. If you have any other questions that I can help you with, I'm not a goat expert. I got to tell you this, folks. I'm not a goat expert. This is just something we've been learning over the last 3 or 4 years. So any questions, I advise you to actually ask Michigan Snow Pony. She's really up on her goats. But if anything I can answer for you, just email me at myhalfacrehomestead@gmail.com. I hope this helps. Take care. Bye-bye.